Call Levy County, Florida court in Bronson, Florida, and ask them for a copy of the reports and a restraining order that I received so that you don't think that I'm lying. I even provided pictures. And because the carnival owner was scared of what may happen and knowing that he had already been convicted of many assaults, but it seems kind of strange, you see? He knows the police because he's a carnival owner. He did not get charged with what he did to me. And then he was allowed to kick me out of my home that he provided to me and I paid the bills at. I also at that time had been called in and told on December 5th back in 2016, a guy named Dolph Healy that works with the carnival who also did this to me. Emerson Dolph Healy. Yep. He called the police. Levy County Sheriff's Department came out like they were gonna fucking pull guns on me, at which Emerson Dolph Healy had already pulled a gun on me and said, go ahead, break into that home, bitch. Well, what had happened then was the fact that, you see, Larry Johnson from Morston, Florida, got arrested for abusing me. And I had to give his nephew a ride home. His nephew took the plate off the trailer that I was hauling and had the cops sitting there waiting for me. So as I dropped him off, the cop pulled up behind me, pulled me over. I showed him the proof, in fact, and I went home. Well, the home had already been tamper-proof, screwed shut, inside and out. But I was able to lift one hole that didn't take out of another door, and I opened it up wide open. I had no power, I had nothing, because Emerson Dolph Healy and whoever else had vandalized the home while Larry was in jail for abusing me. It happened at Markham Park, down by Fort Lauderdale. Okay? So we were at a biker's event, and he abused me. It was seen by a biker, and it was reported, and we got pulled over on the highway. I got pulled out by gunpoint. I had to walk backwards, and the cops put my shirt up over my bra, showing my boobs. Everybody going by, I mean, they could have run me over. I was that close in the highway, okay? And I want video footage of that from Markham Park in Florida. Yep. Down by Pompano Beach, Fort Lauderdale area. Yeah, exactly. Because for some reason, that charge disappeared as well. So all these times that I have proof in fact that I have been abused out here by carnival and police and sex trafficked by both, my daughter as well. So in bringing it up to November 23rd, 2019, I want you to all Google, if you want to, Barnett, B-A-R-N-E-T, woman, W-O-M-A-N, Sues, S-U-E-S. You're going to see a picture of me and my dog, Gypsy. I was running with full intent to run for state representative 2020. 3 days after that was in the paper, my home mailing address had not been changed, but I was on the road doing missionary duty. And I had applied for protection from abuse and harassment and stalking and illegal surveillance against my perpetrators, being law enforcement and FBI, federal corrections officers, okay? Stalking me, cutting the coil spring on my vehicle, all kinds of stuff. So 3 days later, it notes to the federal court in Burlington, Vermont, that my mail had been returned to sender, no forwarding address. How does that happen? United States Postal Service, Burlington, Vermont, or Barnett, Vermont, or St. Johnsbury, Montpelier, White River Junction, whichever route it travels from. The federal court, which is upstairs over the United States Post Office, listen to this, okay? Burlington Federal Court. I filed a misconduct against the staff, Department of Justice, Jeffrey Eaton, who is the Burlington Federal Clerk, as well as Judge Crawford, who said that my cases were dismissed because they were frivolous. Nothing frivolous about the proof and fact that I've already showed you. And that is why I filed lawsuits. So noting that I had filed 87 billion plus multi-million, where did those go? Do you know those were to protect not only me and my family, but to protect all of you out here because of what the government and the state has done to us? Do you know that when I had to leave Vermont, it was because my home and my car got taken off the property I resided on by North Country Federal Credit Union is what they told me. But Vermont State Police wouldn't look into it, and I have all the information, detailed voicemail, as well as audio recording conversation with Internal Affairs Robert McKenna out of Waterbury, Vermont. Vermont State Police telling me. 38-minute conversation recorded telling me he's not going to do anything about it. It's not a civil matter when they steal. Joda Hodge, he's a film producer out of Lyndonville, Vermont. Look him up. He was the one that was the ex-boyfriend to Melissa Jenkins, who ended up dead from being a teacher at the St. Johnsbury Academy, right down the road from me, to being dead in the river just down below me. How did that happen? And why are there two people that went to assist her, that got called to assist her? How is it proven that they're the ones that received a call from her? Maybe Joda called with her cell phone after he killed her. That's a theory that never got looked into because he's a film producer and he's friends with the cops. But if you ask the courts in Caledonia County, which is St. Johnsbury, Vermont, about the restraining order that they had to put against Joda Hodge because he had slashed another film producer's dog in the kitchen while he was home sitting. That happened right in Caledonia County, Northeast Kingdom, Vermont. So knowing that all of these people, and Brewster, New York, chief of police, which is, Brewster, New York is where my family's castle is, was just busted for sex trafficking. That's not very far from Troy, Vermont, which is not very far from Burlington, Vermont, which is not very far from all of these politicians from the state of Vermont and the police that are involved. So with that being said, I want to know if you can understand what I'm saying. What do you think happened to all of my case files? Why do you think all of my case files got dismissed? Why do you think that in 2021, there was another situation? Because Brianna and I went to the courthouse, got all of the case information that they said previously burned in a closed case fireproof vault that was set on fire a week after I had handed Vincent Aluzzi face to face, hand to hand, a letter of intent to sue him for the violations he has committed against me and my family. Now knowing we're back up to 22. In January, we got that information. January 8th, Brianna conducted a meeting. She wasn't on medications through Northeast Kingdom Mental Health Services because she didn't need them, and she was healthy. She was so clear-headed that they obviously couldn't stand it because I have an audio recording of that as well. Chris Mitchell told my daughter that she was very intimidating. He already said he didn't like me, so I was a conflict of interest. Well, the whole thing was a conflict of interest, and it still is today. So we're going to get into that. But the fact is, I requested an investigation into the state of Vermont and all of the workers that I'm about to exploit again and again and again. And everything they do, every time it comes to mind, it's going to come out my mouth.